The next panel, Avenues to New Revenue, is an exploration of how to build your business through different variations of retail, be it e-commerce, brick and mortar, showrooms, and upselling. Our next panelists have done it all. Get ready to learn from their experience to improve your bottom line. Moderating today's panel is Nick May, host of the interior design podcast, The Chaise Lounge, now downloaded in over 100 countries. Nick dives deep into the business of interior design to learn what works for the most successful designers in the world. Joining Nick today are 4 renowned designers with multiple streams of revenue in their successful businesses. Welcome to the stage, Susan Jamieson, Dianna Vincent, Nina Magon, and Cheryl Kees Clendenon.
Hello, there I am. All right, I'm on. I'm live. Hey, thanks for coming and joining us here at the next stage. I'm super excited. And I gotta know, were these like the VIP seats? Did you guys get here early for those? Because I don't, that's where I would be sitting. I don't know. I'm not one to really sit down when I do panel moderation, so I like to, stand up and move around a little bit. So I hope you guys are okay with that. I've got a great panel, and it's like my favorite thing to talk about. We're gonna talk about how do we make more money. Is that okay? Who's excited about that? All right, get a little excited. Come on, guys. We need everybody back there trying to figure out what we're doing because we're having so much fun because we're going to talk about making money. That's what this whole thing is all about. All right, so I've got 4 ladies that have amazing businesses, and I'm going to have each one of them tell us a couple of things. All right, you guys ready?
Yep.
First, you're going to say your name, what's your company, where you're from, and your additional avenue of new revenue for your business.
Me?
Yes.
I'm Susan Jamieson. My company is Beari Designs. I'm located in Richmond, Virginia. I have a design firm, Beari Designs, for the last 28 years. 10 years ago, we launched a paint line called Beari Colors, which is 200 colors strong, paint colors for your home, with metallics. And then about 8 years ago, we launched into the wallpaper sector with Beari Papers. So we have about 30 patterns, and we sell them in New York and Atlanta and Texas. That's in showrooms. And then most recently, in the past 2 years, we've opened Beari Home Store, which is a retail store, and we also have online shopping as well.
So you have like multiple lines of revenue coming in.
Yes, we do.
Oh my gosh, we're going to come back to that. Dianna.
Hi, I'm Dianna Vincent, and I have High Camp Home. We're located in Lake Tahoe, California, and we are a specialty design business, which is focused mainly on resort design. And with that, we have also a online retail e-commerce business, which we launched many years ago. So we were one of the first, I wouldn't say the first, but we were a early player in e-commerce for design businesses. And we also have the online store, and we also have a brick and mortar business, which we've had for many years as well. And that has all been in the basic resort industry.
Nina.
Hi, my name is Nina Magon. I am from Houston, Texas. My design firm is called Contour Interior Design. We are a team of 14 people in my office. We started as luxury residential, then moved to commercial, and now we do hospitality design. We've been in business for about 10 years. So that was kind of a first stream to revenue, was diversifying from just luxury to hospitality to commercial design. And then I started doing licensing, which I do now. I have a licensing deal with Universal out of High Point to do their luxury European modern collection. And then with that, we're also starting a new global, I guess, an entire brand of Nina Magon, which will be furniture, lighting, bedding, mattresses, dishware, the whole 9 yards. And there's a reason for doing that, which I can discuss later.
We'll come back to that.
Perfect.
And Cheryl.
I want to hear about that.
Right?
My name is Cheryl Kees Clendenon. I am from Pensacola, Florida. For those of you who don't know where that is, it's the little tiny city that's up there in the panhandle of Florida that the rest of Florida forgets about. Lower Georgia is what we like to call it. And I own In Detail Interiors, which is a full-service design business, and also 1514 Home, which is our retail location through that In Detail Interiors works through, so to speak. We have e-commerce. I do consulting with other designers. We do products that we sell on the website. Just a bit of everything, honestly. If there's money to be made, then I'm usually going to be looking to do it.
Awesome. Well, when I was actually prepping for this today, I was actually thinking about all of these wonderful ladies and their businesses, but then I started thinking, Nick, you are also somebody who has multiple avenues into revenue. I'm a paint contractor. Some of you don't probably know that. But then we also have a media company, and that's why I do podcasting. But I love talking the business of design, and so we're going to come back to Susan. Susan, how hard was it for you to kind of break away outside of design and start some of these other revenues that you have?
Well, it was really by happenstance that it happened. We're always designing custom pieces, furniture for our clients, custom paint colors. I mean, that's just the nature of the business and being a designer. But I happened to come across someone who said we were doing a sort of a nonprofit project, and they were like, you have a really good eye for color. Would you like to do a color line for us? And that happened to be Fine Paints of Europe. So I ended up with a color line with them, and then thought, well, this is a product that is high-end. What can I give my clients that would not be such a high-end product, something I can use every day? So I went in search of a brand that would let me private label and use my own paint colors that I had created throughout all these years.
Yeah.
Our specialty colors, and that was California Paints. So that's where our base, our mothership paint line is from. But then we mix all the paints in our house, and then we also have a metallic line. So we really started from there and then built like, okay, well now we have paints, why don't we have wallpaper? With the digital printing, this was a great idea. The paints match with the wallpaper. We were able to hook up with showrooms called Bradley USA, which is in Chicago and New York and Atlanta, and they do all the selling. So I don't really have to sell. All I really have to do is get them the memos for all the designers and have products to them in their showrooms, but they handle all the selling. Brilliant. I don't have to do the day-to-day. The orders just come in, which is great. And we've gone from residential, and now this year we've launched a commercial line of wallpaper. And even today we got a commercial job order, which is like 60 yards strong. So I was really excited for that. And then from the products, it went into, well, we need a place to sell these. I was selling them in a different retail store in my hometown, and we decided to move on our own, and that's the start of the home store. So we sell the products, we sell the wallpaper, we sell the paint, we sell furniture, accessories, and that is great for my design business.
I was going to say, what's the range of the furniture and accessories that you have on your website?
On the website or in the store? Both?
Yeah, because you do it both, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, because I saw on you had the online store,
Yes.
and then you have an in-store store.
And we have an in-store.
Brick and mortars.
Yes, so it's pretty much, the in-store is a range of things that I'll find from Indonesia, things that I find at market, custom pieces that I've made and started. We have prototypes that we've sold from furniture pieces, artwork from local people, local craftspeople, so that's in the store. And then I try to add those things to the online store. I find that the younger people come in and they're like, do you have an online store? Or somebody from out of town comes in and said, I want this, but I want to order it online. Then that was sort of the reason for the online store.
So multiple avenues.
Multiple.
All right. Dianna, we're going to go over to you. You've been an online retailer for how many years?
For about 15 years.
So you were an early adopter into this.
I was.
What made you think I should go in this direction with my business?
I think early on, we were a brick and mortar store, and we also obviously were a design firm, and we just saw the opportunity. Being a specialty designer, being in the resort industry, we really looked at that as a niche market, and we were selling niche product. And with that, we continued that through into our online presence, as we did in our retail presence as well. And there just seemed to always be people coming in from all over the country to our brick and mortar store asking us if they could purchase. And so we were shipping all over all the time anyhow. So it made sense that maybe we could actually take that opportunity to do that through an online presence.
Right.
And it was not easy back then compared to now. And so when we, at that point in time, were getting into launching online, it was difficult. I mean, platforms were really quite extensive to build, and it was a big deal to get into actually creating online back at that point in time. And so now, for anybody that is doing online, it's really simple to actually launch an online store compared to what it was at that point. And we've transitioned different platforms since then. And as long as, what we did is we kept it to our niche, and we really looked at that, and that sold. And so we transitioned. We looked at what we were selling from basically the ski industry and keeping it to resort-oriented goods, and we sold that through online, and that seemed to take off.
And so originally you had a retail store?
We still do.
Yes. You still do?
We still do.
Okay.
Yes.
So people were buying there, and then it just made sense to go online.
It did. And what we have also found is that, and this is something that we've discussed earlier, is we don't really compete against the big brick and mortar, or the big
like Amazon.
Yeah, and also the Amazons, the Restoration Hardwares, all of those big companies. You just can't, not for a small design firm. It's impossible. So for us to even look at doing that and keep a presence is not realistic. And so we look at the marketplace completely differently in order to generate revenue and to stay in that marketplace. And we don't even look at competing. We keep our presence and keep it clean in the grounds that we offer product that is definitely in its own niche. It is definitely resort-oriented, and it is something that people are coming to us that they aren't necessarily getting through these other big retailers. Certainly they can find it or find similar products, but we're really curating a look and a feel, and by curating that look and a feel and trying to keep something that's a little bit different and having that design element to it, which designers can do a little bit differently than some of these big box stores, it definitely brings people in. And that's our way that we look at doing this, is we don't compete. We actually create our own look and our own style, and it has been successful, and it's a great way to be able to continue to generate revenue.
One of the things I really like about what she does on her website, and you guys should go to her website. What's the website again?
HighCampHome.com.
HighCamp Home. So she has, I don't know if it changes all the time, but you have like a picture of a project. Is this a project you did?
Yes, we do.
And then you can buy these things that were in this project, right?
Yes.
And I love that. So it has the look of that project, and so they can take bits and pieces of it, or they could take the whole entire thing, right?
Right.
Hopefully.
Yes, yeah, we do that. The other thing that we do too, this is another sort of thought for people that are designers, is that we sell directly to other designers because of being in the resort industry. There's a lot of designers that are doing projects all over the country, and they may be in Virginia, for instance, but they're doing a project in Colorado and Aspen, and that's not necessarily their style. And so we work with designers all over to help them curate their look for these projects that are remote. And so I think if you can find something, if you are a designer that's looking at an online store and an online presence, that it has a different specialty market or a specialty feel, it is a great avenue to revenue and a great way to actually just have a presence that you can tie to your business in a different way. Maybe a completely different subject or topic, but if you can figure that out, it really actually does work.
Yeah, there was a whole talk at the other stage earlier today that was talking about having this 24 hours a day income coming in, and I mean what. You wake up in the morning and you've got 4 orders. I think Cheryl was actually talking about that earlier today
that's great.
when we were in the back. But I love that. Like, let's make money all the time, right?
Exactly.
So Nina, we're going to change gears just a little bit and talk licensing. Now, I know I go to High Point a lot, and we have a lot of talks at High Point, and a lot of people are talking about licensing. Nina has done a fantastic job of doing a licensing line with Universal Furniture. And it was fun for me to kind of watch the whole entire process evolve. Tell us about how did that happen, and what has it meant to your business?
So obviously, I'm a designer out of Houston, Texas. So I'm not in a major city, not from LA, not from New York. And so
Houston's number 3, by the way.
Yeah.
It took
in
over
terms
from
of
Chicago.
population.
It is a big city.
But not in terms of the design world. And so, I wanted to make a name for myself. And so I started attending talks. So I actually happened to be on a talk with Nick in the Universal showroom. He was moderating them.
Never know what's going to happen when you're on one of my panels.
You never know that a little Houston girl would get a licensing deal with such a big company. But really, one thing led to another. And so I had met Nick on a different panel. Then he invited me to speak on this panel. And then from there, obviously, I got noticed by the Universal team on that talk. And then that developed into multiple conversations to create a licensing deal. How many of you designers in here would want a licensing deal? Everybody, right? And so I never thought that I could get noticed amongst this large sea of designers that are out there. And luckily I did. And so, then that's how the licensing started. And Nick was he's been there since the beginning, seeing the entire process from start to finish of how we are a very, very luxury brand. And so Universal is more towards the masses. And so how did we get a product that, I guess, was the perfect match between me and them, this luxury brand with Universal. And so that was one of the struggles that we had initially, was when we were creating the brand, is just trying to decide, how do we create a product that's actually sellable? It has to be sellable, but at the same time, it has to represent me. So that was one of the struggles that we went through when we were creating the licensing brand. Also, before I even got the licensing brand, I had to establish a brand that was strong enough to even get noticed. So what do? We're very modern, we're very forward-thinking, and that's something that Universal was missing from their niche market. They didn't have this European modern aesthetic, which is why he was so interested in having the conversation with me. So I was able to establish a brand that was getting noticed by another brand because of something that they didn't have. I guess another thing is that even when we were going through the process of developing the collection, I actually went to Shanghai and with the Universal team, and they have an amazing 6 million square foot, huge factory in Shanghai. And, from picking the fabric to making sure, I wanted more color. They said, no, color doesn't sell. So again, creating that perfect meld between me and them and making sure I'm authentic to myself, but still making Universal happy to create something that they feel that they can sell to their clientele. Also, I think a big struggle is that with the team that you have, luckily I have 14 people on my team, but creating that time. So not only are you designing for clients on a daily basis, but now I'm also having to design a collection that's taking time and manpower out of things that are making money, which is designing every day. And then that in the future you're going to make money from this licensing collection once it starts selling. And then you also have that hope, is this collection going to sell? Are people going to like it? Are they going to like this red sofa that I designed? And the funny part is I hate red, but I don't like red, and I created this fabulous red sofa that's in the Universal collection that I absolutely love, and it's one of their best sellers, actually. And so you never know, you might hate something, and all of a sudden it sells. So it was a great learning experience. And from there, I'm taking that experience and developing an entire brand collection. So I actually just recently hired my global brand director. He's from Florence, and he specializes in creating strong brands for clients. So he works for me full-time now, and so he is helping me to design a collection from start to finish, which is going to be all the way to a mattress. He convinced me that we have to design a mattress. So it's an entire lifestyles collection that's really interesting as well. So.
Cheryl, we're going to come down to you, and we're going to come back to retail a little bit. And Cheryl and I have known each other for a long time, and we've had these conversations about brick and mortar. Some people are afraid that brick and mortar is dying, and people are afraid of retail. The big retailers, even where I live in Denver, we're seeing a lot of them close up. Why have you been so successful for so long in...
There's really the biggest reason. There's one big reason. Does anybody want to take a guess what the number one reason is why I've been able to be successful and continue on with all that I do? They want to take a guess? Nick?
You?
No,
You
it's
own the
actually
building.
not me. It's hiring well. It's hiring well. You hire really good people. You pay them well. You max out their potential, and it's the number one thing I think that people do wrong is that they're trying to save money,
Correct.
and you have to
Correct.
spend money to make money, and that's the truth. I mean, it's an axiom, but it's the truth. So when I finally figured that out, and it was many years into my career before I figured out I needed to do something to stop driving people away and actually get them to work with me and for me and help me make money, then things turned around. And it doesn't matter what the market does. I went into retail in 2008, and I sort of, I guess I was not really I was too busy to pay attention that the market was sucking, and I was like, oh, I'm going to do
Cheryl,
retail now.
I'm going to interrupt you. How long have you been in business at that point?
Oh, at that point, we started in 1999, 2000. So it was about 8 or 9 years,
Okay.
8 years
Yeah.
or so.
So you've been doing it a
doing
while.
it. And we had a very active kitchen and bath dealership. So for those of you who are not just designers but actually do kitchen and bath, that's all I did was kitchen and bath stuff for a very long time. And I had 6, 7 employees, and we didn't have a manufactured cabinet line, which is really a great way to make money. We did it on a custom guy that we worked with for now 20 years, who I adore, and selling product. So, but I'm a salesperson at heart, so the selling part of it comes naturally to me. And I have learned that I'm really good at training people to sell too. Once I stop annoying them and then doing a better job, with actually, listening to them and doing all the things. I can give you a handbook of everything not to do first that I did the first few years. But after that, we started the retail, and at first we were not open to the public at all because I was thinking we were leaving money on the table. Everyone in here is probably leaving money on the table, right? It's really the truth. You just have to figure out for your particular business, whether you're a solo designer or whether you're a kitchen and bath shop, because I work with a lot of designers that actually that own kitchen and bath showrooms, and we work to add more money to their bottom line in all kinds of unusual and different sorts of ways. And it's all really starts out with hiring the right people, of course, but also being able to sell product. Because I don't know about y'all, but that's really, I only have a certain amount of hours in the week to work. And when you figure out how many times you can bill by the hour and do things like that, you have to sell product in some way or another. And so that's what we've done really well. And originally, we were not open to the public, and I quickly realized that was stupid. So then we became open to the public, and honestly, the retail for us, it's not about just people walking in. Okay, our building we have 5,000 square feet in 3 buildings on a very 4-lane road, but it's an old house. The main building is an old house, and I built a warehouse also. And it's about people coming in. It's really a very unusual business model because I'll be perfectly honest with you. Our revenue comes from our client base. That's where it comes from. It comes from us going out and snaring those clients and those sales and getting that sale and working with our own clients. It's not about people just walking in. That's maybe 20%, if that, So it's, you have to be able to balance everything, the cost of doing business. And in some areas, if you're downtown Manhattan, that's probably not, going to happen for you because of the rent's too high. But we pay, I don't know, $4,500, $4,800 a month, and we own it. We own the building. The company owns the building. So there are ways to do this and to transition from just kitchen and bath to selling other products, buy add-on products, bar stools. I work with a designer now that we're starting to put bar stools in her showroom because it makes sense. We maximize the real estate of the building. Go find artists. Our top growing category from our retail shop is original art. And guess what? There's no inventory cost. So you work with people that you like. The beauty of it is I get to take it to my jobs. I photograph it. Half the time, the client loves it, and they buy it. If they don't, I still get great photographs out of it, right? So it's really a win-win, and constantly thinking about how to do the win-win part with your clients. I wrote an article for Home Accents recently, and part of that that I got a lot of really good feedback on was we wanted to open up a new line of mohair throws, okay? They were like $350 a piece or something. So to do that, I said, look, if we can sell them ahead of time, we can pre-sell these to our best clients, then let's open it because then it's paying for itself, right? So we really have fun with it. And Liz, my operations manager, the best person I've ever hired, ever in my life, got on the phone, and I got on the phone. We kind of had a contest almost. Who can we sell these? So we sold 9 of them. We made all that money, plus we were able to pay for the line opening. So it was like sort of a no-brainer, and it makes our jobs look good when we can style with those.
Yeah, being a good salesperson is super important.
Very important.
So,
But let me finish that one thought on the hiring part. It's not good enough just to hire somebody good. You need to be able to train them and teach them the product. Okay, so I brought one of my new designers with me here, and she is like big-eyed at the Kitchen and Bath show. I'm walking around going, yeah, well, I saw that last year. Well, I saw that. And she's like this. Well, it hit me like, whoa, this is the best investment ever, bringing her with me to look at all these things with a fresh eye. So, and then she learns the product. So we sat there an hour learning all about vent fans because is that very sexy to sell vent fans? No, it really isn't. But Brown Newtone had some great new products out. It was really a good thing. It makes me an expert. It makes her an expert when I'm talking about all these different ventilation options, and ventilation happens to be one of my hot buttons. So it's not sexy, but you can make money at it. So that's the idea, is to learn the product, train people well, but hire really good people, and don't be afraid of paying them as good as you can and incentivize them. Everything's incentivized to me because that's the way we run.
We've just heard about the staffing sizes of Cheryl and Nina. How about you guys? How many staff do you have that run on everything?
5.
You have 5?
I have 9.
And you have 9. How do you guys balance this? Because I think, we've just heard from these folks that how many different things they have going on. How do you balance life, family, and running multiple businesses?
It's difficult. I mean, we're not lying about it. I mean, there's lots going on all the time. I even work the store sometimes on Saturdays because I like to meet with people. I think it has to be your passion. I'm all about creativity. I love designing wallpapers or furniture. I mean, it's just a passion. So I don't care that I'm there on Saturday working the retail store because, like Cheryl said, I'm there. People come in. I might get a design client. I might sell something. I know what's going on. I know what's in the store to take. I mean, that was the one thing you said. Like, we take things to our clients.
Oh, yeah.
It's
awesome.
like, yeah, you just are, we want this. We load up the van, we take it to the client, and it doesn't come back.
And there's a lot of benefits to having a shop for that very reason. You're going to be buying at the best possible. More eggs, fewer baskets. More eggs, fewer baskets. So you become important to vendors. Even if you have a studio or something, you can still do this, and then you have the product there, whether it's accessories or whether it's furniture or whatever, to take with you or to sell from. Rather, you don't take a sofa out and try it on, but you know what I'm saying. And I think that's really important in that regard, don't you, Susan? And the sense of having there's a lot of reasons to have a retail shop that don't all have to do with just it making a lot of money for you in and of itself, okay? I look at my retail sales as paying for one solid employee and then the mortgage on the building, which, the company owns and is a great investment. So there's a way to look at it from a hiring point of view.
Dianna, how about you? How do you balance it all? How do you balance it all?
Well, it was a dry January. I tried to do that, but
How'd that work for
we're
you?
in Vegas now, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I've had a lot of years of doing this, so I'm 30 years in the business at this point. So lots of experience, lots of practice, and there was many years that I don't know that I balanced it as well. And at this point in the career, it's, I think, experience in balancing it, and good staff, great staff, learning how to hire, and how to delegate, and how to make sure that you're right. You take care of your employees; they take care of you, and you do have to balance your life. I mean, you really do. I mean, I'm definitely someone who works too much.
Self-professed.
Self-professed, yeah. My husband would say so. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
a Saturday, Sunday worker. I'm not someone who does retail. I am someone that my retail staff would kick out of the retail store if I set foot in there. They won't let me near the cash register. I will be the first one to say that.
I don't even know how to work it.
I don't either. So I'm going to be completely honest.
I'm forbidden from answering phones. I just can't talk to anybody on the phone.
I'm not allowed to do that either. So, but I do love to go on the retail floor from time to time and just talk to people. I mean, that's fun. But I have a great staff that takes care of that. So it's about balance. I have a great staff that takes care of the online business. I focus on design, and that works great. So we all have our roles, and if you can actually set up a business where people are hired, do fill those roles, and you still get involved at certain levels on those roles, it's great. And for us, it has worked well, and it is balance, but sometimes I'm not as
I call it seasons. We have seasons of being super busy, and then other seasons that are a little bit lower. And so we just have to take the good with the bad.
We do, absolutely, we do. And and sometimes we're pulling out our hair because it's just crazy. So it's life.
But we're making sales.
But we're making sales. We are. Yeah, we're making sales, and we're really, really busy.
Then we're smiling,
Really
and everything's
happy.
going good.
It's good. So
Covers up for those bad days.
Yeah.
Nina, I want to ask you a question because you have a big staff. How are you so successful at hiring staff? And I have to ask that because I know some of your staff, and I love your staff, and they message me sometimes, and it's super fun. But you have a very diverse team as well. So kind of share some of that, because we've talked about that offline.
So obviously, since I love modern and European aesthetic, when I started my firm, I was going against the grain in Houston when everyone was designing this, Texas Tuscan houses. I was going modern, and everyone was like, oh, it's too stale. I don't like it. It's too white. And now Houston's finally caught up, and I was like, have you been to Milan? Have you seen what's out there? It's all modern, So I'm a huge modern lover. And with that, when I started hiring, I went through a couple of rounds of people before I finally found my dream team, or the building of my dream team. So I went through, some girls who I didn't like, so I fired all of them. Then I went through another round of some more girls, didn't like them, got rid of all of them. And so I kept on starting from scratch again and again. And then finally, it clicked to me that, hey, I need to hire diverse. And so I started hiring. I have, I think, 2 Colombians who I have 2 Colombians, 1 guy from Shanghai. My design director is from Milan. He's an architect from Milan. I have 2 girls from Madrid. So altogether, there's 14 of them. But the great thing about them is they're all trained in a country, except for 2 of them. 2 of them are Americans, so that's also diverse for me. So, and my background is Indian. And so, all of us have learned a different cultural background. And every single person who I hired, I wanted to see what do they love about design and what really drives them? Do they love my aesthetic? Do they love what we do? And ironically enough, most of the international people are the ones who tend to love the modern aesthetic. And so with that, we took it a level further. And even on our website now, It welcomes you in, I think it's 8 different languages on the website. And so we are verbally saying that we are an international design firm. And then with that, we got a project with the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi. So we're one of his designers now because they were looking for an international design firm, and that kind of took us to a global level. So everything kind of worked its way to the way I wanted it to work. And now I love my team. I think they're fabulous. I would do anything for them. I take them out once a month. I have a lot of fun with them. We celebrate birthdays with them. It's a family because I'm with them sometimes more than I am with my own family. And so I have to treat them a certain way and make them feel that they're part of this company and that as we grow, they will grow with me. I'm not trying to be at the top and leave them down. They're going to go with me. You know, especially my core people and the ones that I really believe in, which are actually 2 of them that you know.
Yeah. And Potluck Friday is amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I actually think you did not completely answer my question of the first time. How has adding the licensing with Universal, how has that affected your design business?
So the way actually on a global level, it's affected my design business because what you don't realize when you're designing a collection for licensing is that who does that manufacturer sell to? So I remember when the collection launched in April of last year. And so when I was at High Point, there were people who were coming in from Saudi Arabia, from Australia, from Canada, and they were all interested in purchasing the collection. And they didn't know who I was, but they knew then when they came into the showroom. And then they started following us on Instagram. And then all of a sudden, I'm in over 1,500 stores around the world that I didn't even take into consideration when I was doing a licensing collection. So that further assisted me in becoming this global brand that we're trying to be. So it actually affected my business in many ways that I didn't know it was going to affect my business in. And it put us on a global map, more so.
Yeah. Cheryl, if somebody is in the audience today and they're thinking, I want to add another avenue for my business, I want to add some other service, what would you recommend them to do, or what would you say? Because I know you also do some consulting.
Yes.
That's another revenue for you.
Yes, it does, but it also takes me away from the core, so you have to have that team in place to be able to do that, or you can't really devote the time to do what you need to do, because I do a fair amount of it. But as far as if you're asking if somebody wants to add more revenue, I mean, first of all, I think you have to look at your own individual business. So it's hard to say because everybody is very different. There's no one
walk us through
size.
the kind of process. What things that you would consider?
I would consider looking first within, looking within your own business of where you can add on sales. I was a waitress for many years in college and after college and before I got a job and all that sort of thing. And I was the master. I won every contest when it was selling appetizers and desserts, right? I won every single one to the point where I no longer was able to even compete. And it's the same idea. If you're working with a client or working with somebody on something, look to add it. The thing that comes to my mind, the first, which is not necessarily appropriate for the Kitchen and Bath show, but I'll tell you anyway so you can get the idea, is that we sell a line of slip-covered sofas, and a very modest price slip-covered sofa. I hate slip-covers. I hate slip-covers. But I live on the coast, Gulf Coast, so, we sell slip-covers because, people come in and you buy it, and I'm all about I do love the sales. So we made a thing that we sort of alluded to at the beginning, that it was sort of a manufacturer deal, but it's really just we will give you a second slip at half off the MSRP, the retail price. And retail, when we say retail in my shop, it means MSRP, and every single person knows that, so we never get screwed up on the terminology, the verbiage. So we will do that if you do it there. So what has that got me? It makes me, the vendor love me. I get more money than I would have gotten if I'm not. It's writing another line on the PO, right? It's another line on the PO. And then on top of that, the money is obvious, but it's a win-win for your client. It's a win. How much better of a win-win can you get than that, right? So then people started finding out about it and asking the company, oh, I want that deal. And other retailers were going, wait a minute, that's not a company deal. That's a deal that this woman in Pensacola, wherever that is. Florida does. So it became a kind of a thing within the company, kind of a big joke within the company, but they loved it. So it's really that idea is you have a client right there. That is your best customer when you have somebody right here. I mean, right in your hand. So you want to be able to maximize that. So that's the first thing to look at. And when you're talking about actual other things to do. I mean, I never want to have a license. If I want my name on something, it's going to be a Starbucks cup of coffee, and that's about it. You know, it's just not, that's not who I am and not my goals, you know? And I don't have, you know, Nina's branding and all that sort of thing. We have a very distinct branding, but it's not in that way. You know, I'd be probably more like Susan, where I would develop my own line of paints or wallpapers or something like that. But it's never been a big deal.
You don't like
for
control,
me.
do you?
What?
You don't like control, do you?
A little bit. So you can do online products. If you've got something between your head right now, that is passive income has been great. You know, I'm working on right now, of all things, a hiring deal, like a guide. And I've had so many people, when are you going to get that done, Cheryl? I know you're at the Kitchen and Bath Show, but you need to get this done because I'm waiting for it. And it's just really what's in my head, the things I've learned, and I'm putting it out there. So everyone here has things they have learned. You know, the key is you have to have an audience. So talking about the e-commerce for a minute, you know, I do e-commerce, excuse me. But we do not, I mean, that's not a big deal for us because it's really hard to get attention. So I get asked this all the time, you know, e-commerce. Now, you started at a good time, so you probably do really well with it. But if people are honest with you that have started e-commerce in the last few years that are just like regular folks, not, you know, have the money of Amazon and, you know, all these big companies that do it, it's really hard to get traction on that. I'm just going to be the first to tell you. It's hard to get traction. And the whole drop ship thing, people say, well, I'm just going to drop ship that. Well, lots of luck with that, with freight and everything else that goes along with it. It's just not that easy. But it is much easier to get into different groups, different things that you're doing. I have a Facebook group. It's great if anybody wants to join it. Small Business Think Big. It's a really good business group. It's about business, okay? And that's been a way for me to let people know about my product. Really, it's developed that way because people say, what about this? And I'm like, oh, that's a good idea for a product. I'm going to do that. And so we sell it. And so while we're here, I am making money. So people can do this, anybody here. I mean, there should be more kitchen and bath people actually doing this. So, I mean, run home tonight and start writing whatever you know that you can do because there are so many people out there looking for this information. And quite frankly, I would have loved this 20 years ago, wouldn't you?
Dianna, I want to actually ask you a question based on something she just said. So she would never do the online.
Correct.
I
got it.
Well, I do the online. I'm just telling you that because I already paid for it. I'm just saying that we're not, we don't, it's not like it's, you know, paying the light bill or anything.
Yeah.
Maybe the mosquito bill.
Why do you think you guys have been so successful with it?
I think what it is, it's part of the overall picture of our business. So I don't think that it would be something that would be where we would just look at our revenue generation. But I think it's
because we were talking about it in the back,
exactly.
about it's the whole piece.
Exactly, it's a big piece of the whole picture. So we can't, you know, you asked me back there, could you put a number on it? And not necessarily. I think what it is, it's when we look at everything combined, it definitely is a good revenue generator because when we, as I explained, we have designers that will pop in and out of the blue, there will be, you know, a good few $1,000s that will come in overnight that we're not anticipating. And
that's nice.
It's nice.
It's a great surprise.
Yeah, it's a great surprise. And so when we get that and we get hits like that on a regular basis and we're not doing anything really, there's just not a lot of effort put into that aspect of our business. We do drop ship. It's not that difficult to drop ship a lot of our product. And we're very careful on the product that we promote and we put on our website so that it is easy product to drop ship. We're not bringing a lot of product into our business first and then having to ship it out from our business. It really is an easy way to make money that's additional revenue on top of what we're doing. So I think that the one thing, and this is the big point that we're trying to make, is that we look at it from between brick and mortar, between online, and then obviously design is our big area of revenue. But when you've got these other tentacles out there that are always supporting and are always bringing in revenue on top of your design, it's just extra revenue that's always dumping in. And
Diversification there, I think, is really good.
And so if you're having a bad month, something goes wrong on a
Right.
design job, how great is that to see, a few $1,000s hit at you from web that is just out there chugging along, making extra revenue for you. So yeah, it's not something that I would ever count on as supporting your business, but it definitely helps revenue, and so does the brick and mortar. As long as you can make sure you watch your overhead, not an issue.
Yeah.
And on the web sales, that is not an area of heavy overhead. So
Right.
It's just promoting it, though, and that sort of thing, too, is you do have to promote it. And I mean, if you want to sell more, you can promote it. You can put it on Pinterest. You can do all those, Instagram has been great. We just sold a piece of art off Instagram, on the website. So it works, but I still think that it's not that, it's easy to get into. I think it takes more work than people actually realize to make e-commerce work if you don't going to put some money and effort into it.
Susan,
Yes.
how has these other avenues affected your design business?
Well, I think I said before that, everything we have in the store, everything we have online, even the products, I use in my own design. So that's number one. Also, I think someone said other designers use my product. So
Right.
they're buying my wallpaper, they're putting it on Instagram. One of the pictures is another designer from Seattle and Dallas.
Pulp.
The black and white pulp.
Pulp girls.
They used my paper in a show house, and that got a lot of attention. It got in Traditional Home magazine. All of that is just extra branding for me, extra income for me.
Brings in more clients for design.
Yeah, it's quite nice.
Quite nice. Well, I could keep asking questions all afternoon, but we have 10 more minutes left, and I wanted to allow an opportunity if you guys have any questions for our lovely panelists today. So does anybody have any questions for us? Got one over here? We can't hear you, so we'll wait for the mic.
This question is for Cheryl. If someone wanted to book a session with you for your services as a designer, how does
She's not
book that?
a plant. Just on the website. It's all on the website. Everything is on the website. Our website is our lifeblood for everything, but it's on there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for asking.
Anybody else? So I'll ask another question. Do we have any other plans of adding additional avenues of revenue moving forward? We'll start down here.
Yes, we're looking into adding fabrics. So
Yay.
I've been looking at that for a long time. I just can't find the base fabric because a lot of our wallpapers have metallics, so it's been sort of a bumpy road that way. But that is something we're going to add.
We can chat after. I have a resource for you, maybe.
Oh, good.
Not right at the moment. No, we're just chugging along. We have a lot going on right now. We're busy, so
Your family likes to see you. They don't want to give you up anymore.
no, we're good.
Nina, I think you have some more things cooking.
Well, as we get into hotels and things like that, a lot of these international hotels, they don't care about what brands you're using. So as we develop the Nina Megan collection, we'll obviously be outfitting the rooms with our collection. So that is not only you get the design of the hotel, but now you're also furnishing it with your furniture. And so you're making a ton of more money.
And will people be able to purchase that somewhere online so they could actually bring it back to their house?
Yes, online on our website, and then obviously we're working to do more licensing, and it'll be shown in showrooms as well. So the launch is supposed to happen in September, so we'll see what happens.
Cheryl?
We've actually just started a trade showroom. We've got somebody running the program, so we're now doing
trade show what?
Trade showroom, a trade program to
Oh,
other
trade-
designers because we have
Okay.
a lot of accounts, and we are doing it as a that's part of the Damn Good Designer sort of program. It's more of a partnership, so we're the back of the house for people. A lot of times it is kitchen and bath people that want to buy bar stools for their client, or they see a way to make money. So it's really been a good thing. It's a slow process for us because we're maxed out right now in terms of we need more people. But it's really been a good thing, and I think Susan does this as well, and not just with your lines, but also with other people's lines. So the trade deal is free. If you've got a retail showroom, look at talking to people, especially if you're a kitchen and bath showroom, because a lot of people don't want to go to Ferguson's. Am I allowed to say that? Some people don't want to go to the big showrooms. They'd rather work with somebody here locally that has and it doesn't always have to be in your town. We work with a lot of distributors that are out of our town because the local people don't give me the time of day. They don't give me good enough pricing. It's all about the money.
Yeah. Well, I want to end on time, so thanks a ton for joining us today. I hope you guys have a great KBIS, and if you've not joined NKBA, you should. I'll just say that.
Yes.
Thank you.